Man, let's set the scene right. Robinson, Texas, looked like one of those chill suburbs where nothing wild ever really happens. But behind the neat lawns and quiet streets, a storm was brewing. And it wasn't just any storm. We're talking about a murder so cold, so twisted, that it flipped the whole community upside down. Keith Gentry's death wasn't some random tragedy. It was a setup straight out of a crime flick, only worse because it was real life. The crazy part? The mastermind wasn't a stranger. It was his own wife, moving shady in the shadows. Darlene Das Casal grew up in Central Texas, known for her charm, beauty, and ambitious nature. She was nicknamed Texas Beauty Queen, as her early life reflected popularity and social ease. She pursued training as a dental assistant, later considering nursing, which showed her desire to work in caring professions. Friends described her as lively and confident, someone who naturally attracted attention. Keith Gentry, raised in nearby Waco, Texas, had a completely different personality. Known for his steady demeanor, responsibility, and devotion to family, Keith embodied reliability. He was not flashy, but his quiet strength made him well respected in his circle. Keith's life plan focused on family stability and being present for loved ones. Their paths crossed at Texas State Technical College, where their connection quickly blossomed into love. The relationship developed with intensity, soon embraced by both families. Their partnership was seen as one built for the long term, blending Keith's grounded loyalty with Darlene's bright energy. For their friends and relatives, they represented the picture-perfect small-town couple. Keith and Darlene married in 1999, committed to building the secure family life they both envisioned. Together, they welcomed 3 sons, Chase, Cody, and Cade. On the surface, their life reflected a dream of suburban comfort, centered around children, work, and modest family stability. Keith worked as an engineering assistant at a local electric utility, a job that was dependable though not glamorous. His priority was always stability for his family. Darlene, meanwhile, pursued nursing, a career that gave her both independence and a sense of accomplishment. Yet the perfect image of their marriage gradually developed cracks. Financial pressures increased, especially as Keith gave up higher-paying fieldwork to take a desk job that allowed him to spend more time with his children. Darlene's spending habits did not always match the family's income, leading to frequent arguments about money. Those close to them noticed these tensions, but no one anticipated how deep the fractures truly ran. From the outside, Keith and Darlene still looked like a devoted couple, but beneath the facade, frustration and discontent were quietly growing. On November 9, 2005, everything changed. Early that morning, a 911 call was placed from the Gentry home. Darlene's voice on the line was calm, yet urgent. She reported finding Keith in bed, covered in blood, barely breathing, with signs suggesting a violent intrusion. She mentioned the back door being open and noted that several guns were missing from the family's locked cabinet. When emergency responders arrived, the scene was deeply unsettling. Keith had suffered a gunshot wound to the head and was gravely wounded. Despite medical efforts, he never regained consciousness and was pronounced dead 2 days later. To neighbors and friends, the story at first seemed tragically clear: a home invasion gone wrong. Yet investigators began to notice details that suggested otherwise. From the earliest observations, law enforcement suspected something was off. The crime scene contained inconsistencies that clashed with Darlene's account. The blood evidence suggested that Keith had been shot earlier than when she claimed to have discovered him. The positioning of the guns outside the home appeared unnatural, arranged rather than stolen in haste. Far from being random violence, it was carefully orchestrated. Attention quickly turned to Darlene. She was a trained nurse, yet she had not attempted CPR or any life-saving actions on Keith when she found him. Instead, she told dispatchers that she stayed with her children. To investigators, this was puzzling and troubling. Her response seemed detached. Her 911 call also lacked the frantic panic typically expected from a spouse discovering a loved one gravely injured. Calm and deliberate, her tone seemed inconsistent with the urgency of the situation. During questioning, Darlene initially cooperated, but as scrutiny deepened, she invoked her Fifth Amendment rights, halting further discussion. Her refusal to answer questions and her composed demeanor only fueled suspicion. Investigators soon uncovered evidence that began to build a damning case. Latex gloves were found in the kitchen trash, containing both Darlene's and Keith's DNA. along with shell casings. This discovery strongly suggested her involvement. Financial motives also emerged. The Gentrys had significant financial strain, yet Keith had a life insurance policy worth between $500,000 and $750,000. To authorities, this pointed toward a possible financial motive for Darlene. Further troubling was her sudden interest in a rural property with a pond. Investigators suspected that she might have used the pond to conceal evidence. When they announced plans to drain the pond, Darlene made suspicious efforts to prevent the search, further implicating her. In a critical breakthrough, police set up surveillance and caught Darlene attempting to retrieve the murder weapon from the pond. This action left little doubt about her involvement. The weapon's concealment in her attempt to recover it pointed directly to guilt, stripping away the facade of a home invasion. This discovery was the final piece investigators needed. The murder was not random. It was deliberate and meticulously planned. Her defense team presented no witnesses, focusing only on questioning the prosecution's case. Yet the weight of circumstantial evidence proved overwhelming. The jury found her guilty of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to 60 years in prison, a sentence she continues to serve while maintaining her innocence. Appeals for retrial were unsuccessful, ensuring her conviction stood firm. Keith Gentry's death left a void impossible to fill. His 3 sons lost their father and, in effect, their mother as well. The boys were placed in the custody of Keith's parents, who faced the difficult task of raising them in the shadow of tragedy. The Robinson community, once tranquil, was shaken to its core. Friends and neighbors who once admired the Gentry family's seemingly ideal life were forced to reconcile with the grim reality of betrayal and violence lurking beneath the surface. The case served as a chilling reminder that even in close-knit towns, appearances can be deceiving. The murder of Keith Gentry revealed the darker side of domestic conflict. On the outside, the family represented stability and love, but behind closed doors, unresolved financial and emotional struggles grew into something far more destructive. This case also highlighted how crime scenes can be manipulated to hide the truth. Darlene's attempts to stage a burglary and conceal evidence underscored the lengths to which some will go to escape responsibility. The tragedy also raised broader questions. How many relationships in crisis hide unspoken dangers? Could intervention or support have prevented such an outcome? These are questions that continue to resonate in discussions of domestic violence and prevention. Yeah, the justice system did its job, but the damage was already done. Keith's legacy lives on, though, remembered for his loyalty and love, not the madness that ended him. In the end, the mask slipped and the truth hit harder than any bullet. Thank you for watching the story of the shocking murder of Keith Gentry. Hope this deep dive into the case kept you hooked. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll never miss another gripping episode from our true crime series. We can't wait to have you join us again, so stay tuned and stay curious, because the next case will be just as chilling.